Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. Okay, so Star Citizen Live from a couple days ago. Uh, did a video for like from like the first 40 minutes. So going to resume, and here we go.
We're gonna try.
I'll try.
All right. Oh, there's a good question in the chat. I lost it. Oh well. You know who you were. So let's jump into the questions from the community. So the next 30 questions or so are entirely from members of our player base, and we've grouped them into a couple different subjects. Let's start with some Perseus questions. We'll start with the questions related to our 6 currently new vehicles at IAE. And the first question, and these are generally in order of what they were voted up most that could actually be addressed. Will you be adding gravitational plates to the outside walkway of the Perseus?
No.
Next question.
Yeah, next question. There's a lot of people love those areas that you can walk around outside of the ships. There's some really fun, annoying bugs and technical consequences from it that happen as a result of basically abusing the setup to get that to function. And for the Perseus, we really just wanted it as this planet side, like I've landed on a planet in my Perseus, and then I've got this nice little balcony on the side of it that I can go out the rear bridge airlock door and then just survey the land and defend the ship from.
It's not to say that we won't ever explore some gravitational plates on the walkway.
Sure, but it's not the physics grid method that we currently use. So we used to have it on the outside of the carrier to stop people clipping themselves into the back of it and stuff. It's not what that system's intended for, and there's way too many consequences as a result of using it.
All those people hoovering up transport shuttles and asteroids with the front of their 890s and Carracks and things like that.
It's their fault.
It's their fault.
Okay. Why is the Perseus pilot? Why does the Perseus pilot have control over the ship's torpedoes when the Polaris pilot isn't allowed to use the torpedoes? There's a lot of questions from some rather salty Polaris owners who see the Perseus. And
I think it's a good question.
why not me? So, what's the deal with the torpedoes there, Mark?
I'll let John give the good news.
Oh,
It is good news.
it is good news. So in 4.5, we're going to allow one of the bridge stations. We were talking about this last night. Which one
We
was it?
went for the gun, not the missile.
The gun one, not the missile. So the back right station of the Polaris bridge will have torpedo control as well now. It's, as you can imagine, you can use it from there. There's still a reason to go down into the depths of the ship to use it because you then get that 360 camera, and it also has a much larger queue of missiles from there.
Yeah.
So how many did we sell on there? 8?
8. So it can queue up 8
So
at
if you want
once.
to bankrupt yourself, go down to the basement of the Polaris and queue up 8 torpedoes. Something you don't want to exist. So yes, we do want to, and people will in 4.5 have it. So at least they're on the bridge together doing things. Why not the pilot?
Yeah, why not?
Because we sort of want to have some enforced balance there. The Perseus torpedoes are way smaller, way less damage compared to the Polaris ones.
I think there's this thing. It's like when the Mercury Star owners look at the Clipper. It has a second entrance. It's like this. There's this. It's easy to want every ship to have everything.
Yeah.
It's real easy and completely understandable from a player standpoint. Let's just be real. You have your favorite ship, and your favorite ship can't do something that some other ship does, and that irks. That just makes your brain itch. But this is my favorite ship, and I want my favorite ship to do everything because it's my favorite, and this is the last ship I want to fly. But weirdly, that's not exactly great game design. You don't want everybody to just pick one ship and that's the only ship they ever fly for the remainder of their time in the game, because that becomes boring. You want choice. You want compelling differences between this ship, that ship, and the other ship and stuff like that. So while there's certainly things that can be done, like adding the control to another station, behind the Polaris and stuff to bring certain things into parity, you don't want this forced equalization of all things.
Yeah, and without even looking at the chat over there, I can already tell they're going, well, the Polaris doesn't have this. Why does the Idris pilot get the railgun? And I can see that, and it's a sort of different problem in that if you don't give the pilot of a ship that has a fixed weapon on the front of it control over firing at the weapon, it's basically useless. You will never hit anything trying to coordinate between two people with something with such force accuracy. That doesn't mean that we're happy with how powerful that railgun or beam is and won't answer that in the future, but it's not justification for the Polaris pilot or co-pilot, because we also had this discussion, why do we just give it to the co-pilot, the Polaris? Well, then no one will sit in the pilot seat because they'll go sit in the co-pilot seat because they can fly and then shoot the torpedoes at the same time. So it's all sort of a fun multi-layered thing, and it can seem like, oh, they're just ignoring the problem, but there's lots of things to consider.
Yeah, and I think there's loads of balance things, and there's loads of things that we've just learned over time that we could improve on. And we're not saying we're never going to go back and make improvements to ships, but these guys are trying to balance them. So,
you just wandered into one of my, I've got my 7 catchphrases, that have developed over the last decade and a half, and one of them is that every ship that you guys make is better than the last. I mean, I really truly believe that. There's this idea that it's another really easy idea to fall into, that we just know everything in 2012. We know everything in 2014, we know everything in 2016, we know everything in 2018, that we don't learn from each ship that we make. When the reality is we do, and we should. We should learn from every ship we make. Not Falco, oh gosh, I can't think of his name, when we were talking about the Perseus.
I mean, I get that. You can't,
probably. About the signage on the Perseus. We should learn from these things and get better with every single one.
Do you want me to go into this or not? Or have we got time to talk about Perseus, Polaris and things?
Yeah, by all means, do it.
So I think there was a little misconception over the Polaris, is that we didn't have signage because we didn't know what we were doing, or we didn't have signage for this and the other.
I assumed you didn't know.
I'll be honest, I didn't want it to be overly signposted. And was that right? Probably not now, looking back at it, because the general feedback has been people much prefer it. For me, what I was trying to do with the Polaris was I wanted it to feel like a cold, intimidating, kind of brutalist space that wasn't like particularly welcoming, wasn't particularly well signposted. Like, there were all decisions that we were making to try and make it feel just somewhere that was a war machine. And that was kind of like the vision that I was trying to put into it. Did the team ask to put signage? Yeah, some of the team did want to put signage on it, and I was like, actually, I don't want to overcook it. Obviously, on top of that, it was the first time that we were learning a lot as we were going. We were building out kind of RSI kits. We were kind of investing a lot of time into like the underlying structure that we needed to then be able to build future ships quicker and smoother. And I think, obviously with the Perseus, we saw that a lot of the feedback was people didn't like it, people got lost, they didn't like the lighting, they thought it was bland and everything else. So we used the Perseus as an opportunity, and the NA team, they did a fantastic job with it, and all credit to those guys that they looked at it and they were like, what did we learn? What are we going to improve? And it's resoundingly been a success. Everyone seems to, or from what I've seen, it's been very, very positive in how that's been received. Are we going to go back and change that on the Polaris? Are we going to back and make changes? We will make changes. When? It's not coming tomorrow. We need a little bit of time to kind of go back and focus it. We are making some quality of life changes sooner rather than later, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to kind of like knee-jerk react, make loads of changes to it, put it all in, and then them not be, just kind of rush it. I'd rather kind of do it right and have a little bit of time just to kind of let the dust settle, look at what was really successful, learn from it, and go in and make those changes to it. So I was trying to do one thing and it turned out people didn't like it, and that's fine. Like that's absolutely fine, and I'd rather have the opportunity to go in and fix it
Yep.
than actually no, screw you guys, you're kind of done. So yeah, we will go back, we will kind of make updates to it. Will it be as colourful and bright as what the Perseus is? Maybe, maybe not. But I want to experiment with it and try it first before I kind of hard commit to, yeah, this is exactly what we're doing.
I appreciate your candor on that. Chat's made that comment a couple times in the show in the show today. It's one of the things I like about getting to do these shows is that we get to just be real candid about that kind of stuff.
And that's
yeah,
good.
it's some things happen because of it takes a village, and there's 30 people involved in that, and a thing is like that because it has to be the synthesized decisions of 30 people, and that's why it ended up that way. And some things are,
Yeah.
I wanted it that way, and I take credit and also responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly, and I really appreciate you saying that, and whatnot. And again, just to read between the lines there. Eventually, he said he'd go back and look at some quality of life stuff in the short term, but this, like the folks who have been waiting for the 600i, rework. This isn't a rework, but it's just when we talk about these things, we're giving our best intentions and knowledge
I
that
am
we
really
have at the
curious
time.
what that
But that's not a
600i
schedule.
rework would be.
Yeah, and there's some things that we can do
Because I mean, like I said,
relatively quickly,
aesthetically,
and there's other things that
as I looked at it
take
again,
a little bit more time and just a little bit more thought process into it. And I just want to make sure that we kind of like we do it right.
during Free for
But
Fly.
I will say the RSI kit, like in the last, starting with the Polaris. I know we just had some words about the Polaris.
Pause for 1 second. Yeah, it's because I don't want to be talking over them as we're listening. Again, I am curious to see what this rework is because, like I said, I thought about upgrading to a 600i, when they were on sale and everything. But after renting again, which I'm glad again, this is why Fly for Free is good. After I went in looking around and everything, just really looking at, there's not a lot here. I mean, truly, this is a luxury ship, and there's not all that much there. So, yeah, I'm curious what this rework would be because I mean, if there were just a couple little things changed here and there, then I mean, it could be a good. I mean, again, yes, still mainly Origin, luxury, whatever. But still, there could be something to it. I don't know if they gave it a little bit more teeth maybe or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe rearrange the spacing a little bit in it. Then I think it could be really, really cool. But I don't know. Anyways, I digress. Sorry. Let me get back.
interior, but there is so much of the Polaris that just pushed that RSI brand beyond.
Yeah, and then we also have the Zeus,
The Polaris and the Zeus,
Yep.
and stuff like this. It's
there was this whole thing with the Polaris and the Zeus where, for me, the Polaris was what originally I'd wanted RSI military ships to feel like,
Yeah.
and the Zeus was this commercial, something like a little bit more inviting, a little bit more welcoming, and I think with the Perseus we kind of found that really nice balance between
Yeah.
the two. So we just need to go back and sort it.
I'm excited about the future of RSI.
So am I.
I've always been, I've always been an admitted, Drake guy because I like the usable future and everything. But the last year, I've really come around on RSI. It's what I saw with the Zeus, what I saw with the Polaris was just like, oh, maybe I have a new favorite. And it's nice when your favorite also shares the boss's name, just as a political commentary. This next question is simply shark mouth Perseus skin. Please.
Maybe. Not sure yet. I'm going to be non-committal. I don't know. I'll be honest. When Chris asked for the shark mouth Idris, I was just like, nah.
Well, you know what I could.
But
we got all these like monthly holiday promotions, Stella Fortuna, and I could go back there. We could invent Shark Week.
Shark Week, okay.
Shark Week 30th century.
I bet you Shark Week is-
and just force you
Force-
to make shark
okay,
paints
thanks.
for.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if someone in chat says that Shark Week's already a thing.
It is a
But no, it is a thing in real life, but this is the 30th century.
Yeah.
They're moving over.
We just continued it.
The sharks still exist in the 30s. century.
Manny, let's talk about a Shark Week. Manny doesn't watch the show. The next question. Star Kitten Perseus paint, please, by 2 different people.
One of them wasn't me, I promise.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this Mark? So it's always Starkitten, isn't it? It's
Yep.
bloody Starkitten.
Just give us.
So
Ben hates Starkit.
no.
Like
Everyone-
everyone's like, give us Starkit, and Ben's just like, nah, can't. I refuse.
Everyone thinks I hate Starkitten. I don't hate Starkitten.
It's like me and Drake.
I just want it to be used and released for a reason.
Deliberately.
Yeah, like if we have a Star Kitten celebration month, then yeah, of course we do Star Kitten paints, like, absolutely. But I don't want to just slap Star Kitten on it.
Are you
'cause-
challenging me?
No, just because everyone likes Star, I think it's got to feel right, and just slapping it on the side of a ship for no reason doesn't feel right to me. I'd love to build out that whole family, whole brand a little bit further, so it's not just Star Kitty. There's a whole host of characters.
Star Shark.
Star Shark, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, unless Chris asks me to, and then I'll be like,
I doubt that request will come from.
oh, don't know.
He does have a whimsical streak.
He
that-
is on
that-
board
that-
with
that
doing more
people
characters
don't
in
give
the
him
family,
credit
so,
for.
yeah.
You know, the fact that I've survived for 11 years proves he's got a whimsical streak. But last Perseus question: how will ammunition be replaced on the Perseus during combat? Will there be some kind of ammunition containers in the cargo hold?
Yes, so I think we've talked about this before, but I'll go over it again. We have plans, short term, that you'll be able to sort of restock, rearm, refuel from select ships from the stores that you have loaded onto their cargo grids, and if there's another ship in the hangar bay, whatever.
Talked about that at Citizen Gone
Yeah.
Direct. So
We talk about so much, I'm starting to forget
Yeah.
where we said stuff. So that's more for like rearming and refueling ships that are docked aboard your ship, landed on your ship. But the same will apply to ammo as well. So if you've got ballistic ammo on your ship, ballistic weapons, short term, it will essentially hoover it out the cargo grid. Mid, long term, we'll have like dedicated space next to those turrets. We sort of left space for this in the Perseus 2 turret rooms. They're just arted up with like fluff. You see it in the stance attack. There's all this cool artwork that implies loading of stuff that you'll be then manually loading the specific ammo type into that area, and that will go to that weapon.
salvation questions. Can you add a button on the back of the Salvation to keep expelling the boxes in the buffer? Having to keep going into the cockpit to press the button should not be necessary. Thank you. That sounds like a bug.
Yeah, if you've pressed the button in the cockpit to keep auto-ejecting, it should just keep auto-ejecting, and if not, it's a bug.
They were removed.
Didn't get it working. It is a bug though, so if we get to issue cancel, we can get that looked into.
Okay. Will the Salvation fit in and work with the Galaxy's refinery module? Look, I mentioned the Galaxy.
Galaxy question, the only one.
It will fit inside the rear hangar, and then you can unload the cargo and refine it.
There's like a big double door from the rear hangar to the modular section, so
It'll
Easy.
be relatively easy to fit inside there, to be honest.
I was going to say, you
we might have to stop
Taking the Galaxy
Get a couple in there, not a bother.
stop the Salvation flying through that double
The
door
thing is, I
into
just
the
bought
refinery module.
the Odyssey.
I hadn't thought of
again. No.
good challenge.
No, I don't want people doing that.
Chat's like, Galaxy 2026 confirmed. What made you decide to lock the Salvation salvage beams to modified cinches instead of allowing them to be upgradable, swappable?
So the main role and purpose of the Salvation is to be a introduction into the actual the entire world of salvage. It's a good entry ship just to get started, and we wanted the heads that came with it to specifically try and be a easy experience. So it's very forgiving, but obviously the result is the yield isn't very good. It's just supposed to be, hey, listen, you know you don't really know what you're doing very well with it. Let's make it nice and easy for you. And then if you end up really liking the Kree and wanting to progress, you move out of the Salvation. So we wanted to be able to very strictly control that experience and not have that head used on other ships, because it's not meant to be a good optimal head. It's just supposed to be a
It's literally a starter.
easy. That's exactly the, in a nutshell. We don't want to add complexity to a starter.
Yeah. It's the same thing we did with the Golem.
Yeah.
Earlier
It's
this
exactly
year.
that it's the when we originally talked about them, we talked about them being the opposite sides, one salvate.
Torsten's not here. I don't know if cinches are the best option for hull scraping. It's supposed to focus on hull scraping, but that might just be me being a little bitch.
The beauty of them being locked and bespoke versions is we can tune them. Like if they're not performing how we want, then we can change them.
All right. Let's move on to Clipper.
No clipping.
Okay.
That was a. You ever see it? You know, there are things you see in this game. You know, in this project, you work here long enough, you see a lot of things. The Intrepid showing up early and everybody absolutely hating it, and then it going live, and then it moving like hotcakes as far as volume. The Clipper. You know, when we put it in,
Everyone's like,
you put it into build, and you know, those folks who data mine and stuff like that, putting out YouTube videos and whatever, and be like, oh, this thing's so ugly and whatnot, and then it goes live, and I mean, it's now the most successful Drake introduction ship that we've ever done.
That's good to hear.
So, where was I going with it? Where was I going with this? I got lost. Oh, there's a question here. They already wrote it. The Clipper. What will it be able to craft?
Good
obviously,
question.
we're not the people doing crafting, so I can't give you exacts, but it's designed to be FPS items and small ship items, sort of within that world. It's not designed to be like, I want to make another vehicle. It's clearly not going to fit. And
Yeah, that would be the bigger
it's
thing.
sort of part of the balance of that ship. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
why does it not have a bigger cargo bay? Why doesn't it have a bigger this? It's the jack of all trades, master of none. It has a relatively small cargo grid,
Yeah.
relatively small crafting machine to sort of constrain that.
I feel like there was a pretty good answer to this question in the Q&A. In the Q&A that got published alongside, and that's that, you know, basically, you know, crafting is still being worked on. We did a segment on it at CitizenCon Direct, what the very first version of crafting is currently scheduled to look like. It should avail itself of everything in that first version, but then as crafting continues to develop and it continues to diversify, you know, the nature of what it can craft will probably change as the nature of what can be crafted in the game can change. So it's not really a answer that we can give right now. Trispone says, Jared, it's still ugly though. Your mom.
Okay, so I will say that, you know, of course, the initial data mines and just the first look at it, you know, even from the trailer's release, I was like, oh, this shit is kind of ugly. But, you know, as I've seen it, you know, people fly a little bit more, and I've, you know, looked at it myself, and oh yeah, that's the addition. So today I upgraded to an Odyssey, which I believe, what did I upgrade to there? I think my Meteor. I upgraded to an Odyssey. I sold my Star Runner because it just had 10 year instead of LTI, more or less same difference probably for this game. You know, I mean, I don't know. Will we still be playing it in 10 years? I don't know. But anyways, I mean, it would be cool. Hopefully so. Anyways, yeah, I mean, obviously great games. Yeah, we'll be playing. Anyways, so yeah, I sold my Star Runner for cash, upgraded my Meteor, added the cash from the Star Runner, and then, you know, paid out a little bit extra money because I mean the Odyssey was a bit, and again, in concept ship, you know, so people are like, why? Because I mean, I like, from what we see, the current, you know, design and pictures of it, and, you know, what it's supposed to be able to do, and then, you know, it will most likely be more money when it actually is released, whenever that may be. Hopefully, sometime this year. So,
I love the Clipper. Why has the Clipper, despite its massive physical size, only 2 size 1 shields?
Again, it's the jack of all trades, master of none. If we gave it really big shields, like when we were doing this ship, it had quite a few internal nicknames for its sort of its roles and capabilities, and we were pretty concerned it was just going to be like, when people first heard about it, they're like, this is going to break the game. Like, we need to have some form of like balance and control on it, and that's sort of why it doesn't have a huge amount of shields. And as a benefit of having size 1 shields, it means you can actually craft size 1 shields. Like if your shield gets destroyed, you can go craft another one on board and go fix it. Whereas if you had a size 2 shield, it's probably
Interesting.
not going to fit. Like we wouldn't have had space to fit it. It would have got even bigger, taller, longer to fit.
Also, it's quite Drake, isn't it?
That is.
I think it just kind of fits with the theme.
I mean, as
Too many
far
guns,
as
too few
engineering of
shields, yeah.
smaller components too.
Colour
Send
obviously.
it. It's fine.
And this next question, the Clipper, we originally had Rich on the show from the vehicle experience team. He wasn't able to make it at the last minute, so this is really a question for him. But why limit the Clipper in speed to below 1,000 and not 1,100 to 1,200? This ship should be fast based on its name and the number of engines. So we know his answer was balance just where it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
in line with it being a generalist and not a specific speed demon kind of thing. There are a lot of engines.
There are, again, it's Drake. There's a lot of engines. They may not be the best engines in the world, but it makes up for them
Sure
with a
do
number.
look cool, though.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's like,
Big doesn't mean they're powerful.
no, exactly. Yeah.
I do.
Very inefficient.
It's a weird thing to like, but the animation on the engines
Yeah.
is really satisfying to watch when you open it up. I don't know why. There are two things that are getting really. Again, it's really nice to see evolve over time. One is the ship animations are getting really, really, really dialed in. And two, I'm gonna shout out Simon and everybody on CIG Audio, your ship audio lately. We had Simon on. I can't remember how long. Simon and Phil on about the new era and CIG Audio team and whatnot, and what they've been doing for our ships this year. The L-22 weapons specifically.
The wolf's noises were incredible. The audio from the weapons.
Like, I know it makes no sense to the vacuum of space. I don't care. Looks cool. Speaking of the Wolf, we only had one question here about the Wolf. Will the kits for the Wolf be available in-game for AUEC? Yes, eventually. The Wolf weapon kits are no different than let's see, how many have we done? So we introduced the first weapon kit with the Idris K. The Idris K was a weapon kit, and then we introduced that back in 2019 and whatnot. And yeah, it didn't come online until May of this year, but it came online there. The Heartseeker turret for the Hornet in February is another weapon kit. That is currently not in game. I just had a conversation with Andre and the economy guys. That's going in game in 4.5. It's just one of those things that we didn't see it. The Nova tank Gatling gun and the Scorpius missile turrets. Those were sold exclusively on the store for a period of time to fund the project, and then those are in game now. These are absolutely no different. It's no different than all those things that we've literally been doing since 2019 with the Idris K kit. It's the weapon kits, like the ship weapons. We used to. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. We used to make variants that were just weapon loadouts, like the Hornet Wildfire and the Saber Comet and so like this and whatnot. At the Starfighters, the Ion and the Inferno and whatnot. And I don't think any of us really felt super good about that. It was where the tech was at the time, and that's what we could do. Now with this era of weapon kits and whatever, we cannot have to develop an entire variant just for a loadout thing. And
Yeah,
I
and
think
that's
that's a better value proposition for our players, quite frankly. But it is still a means of just like we used to sell those. I'm just going to call them kind of crappy variants, weapon loadout variants. We used to sell those for stuff on the project. Now we do these instead of those. And like everything, they'll go into the game. I don't know what the period of exclusivity is, but it's not hardcore and defined. It's like the Heartseeker turrets going in now because it just is. But yeah, those will go in. The Idris K weapon kit will go in at some point back when I leave here. I don't think it's in right now. So I'll go and I'll talk to economy after this.
Idris T.
The Idris T kit, right? Idris T. We've done weapon kits for a while now and stuff like this. So they all make it into the game eventually. So no.
Can I just mention one wolf thing?
Yeah.
Is I know the paints were a little bit broken when they went out.
Right.
It hurt me, but it was either that or broken damage, and it was deemed that we wanted the ship to function properly, even if the paints were a little bit broken. the yellow lines over the front retros just, yeah, crushed me.
Yeah.
But it's been fixed. It was fixed within a few hours of the build going. It was just something that was too late for us to fix for the release. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Chad is reminding me eventually a way to get the railgun for the Idris M, from the Idris M.
I think they shop.
Big shot.
Big shop.
Yep. I think the big mistake is everybody assumes they go into UEC shops.
Yeah.
And that's never been what's said. They will be attainable in game. So for a long time, UEC shops were the only way we could do that. But now loot
got
is
Wicklow.
diversifying. People have just seen the physicalization of helmets and stuff like this. There's going to be certain things that you can only get through loot. Crafting is somewhere around the corner. That will be another way to attain these things in game. And Wicklow, everybody's favorite,
Everyone's favorite Banu.
which some people online, not completely incorrectly, have dubbed crafting light. When it works.
Hey, at least Jared's being real about things.
Despite
okay?
what some people online have said, I've never sat here and lied to you, not once in 11 years. I'm not going to start now.
And that's good.
But all of these different ways are ways to achieve, or ways to acquire things in game. It's not just automatically UEC shops. That said, the Wolf kits will eventually be in UEC shops. I'm just making a point that it's not just automatically that. All right, so let's move to some general ship questions. Really excited about the Generalist class of ships, seemingly formalized by the Clipper. Any other manufacturers that we might be seeing some Generalist ships from?
Yeah, definitely think it's in 2026. There'll definitely be at least one more. I'm not going to say any more than that.
Just going to reveal the entire 2026 schedule tonight. That's right. All right. You're saying there's going to be another Generalist ship.
There'll be another Generalist ship.
I'm trying to scratch my head thinking, what we signed up for? I can't remember.
I mean, we're just
Been
talking
so many at this point.
Yeah.
the Forge
and I don't know if this is the next question, but
Larry
the,
or whatever.
why we've changed the categories and gone through them all.
Yeah, in 4.4, people probably logged in and saw that a lot of the categories were kind of fixed and updated on their ASOP.
I had a bug come across my desk for ground vehicles displaying as ground, and it annoyed me immensely. So I went into our tools to have a look at it and just discovered this web of broken stuff. And as you do, you start pulling at the thread and fixing one thing, and then you realise the inconsistencies. So we went through and aligned them all. We got rid of ground as a career, because whose career is ground. So all the combat vehicles that are ground vehicles are now combat with their sub-classification, and that just morphed into just re-looking at them all. Light, medium, heavy, freight.
Yeah.
We also realigned some of the categories because they were done 5+ years ago when we didn't have the range of cargo ships we have in game.
Yeah.
So we've sort of normalized that out to new numbers. I can't remember if we've published that, or it's our thing we're going to do, Shipyard.
Yeah, no. We are. It's one of those things. You and I did the Shipyard back in 2016, 2017, and we say every year that it's time to update it and whatever.
Yeah.
We are going to find time to do an updated Shipyard in 2026. That's another thing that's coming in 2026. It's absolutely needed. I got to get these other teams I'm building fully up on board, and whatever, then I can go back to that stuff.
It also knocked onto the web as well. Like the web store is an entirely different set of data, saying an entirely different set of things. So
I had to make a post. I had to make a post last week because we are part of the things. People are like, "What does Jared actually do when he's not filming like this?" Well,
They'll be filming, aren't they?
one of the things I'm in charge of is this massive store audit that we're doing. So we made a mistake. We've been trying to add. We've been slowly working out definitions for all the different roles and the types, and adding them to the website. And Rome's not built in a day, but I made an update to, and it was me who did it. I made an update to, I can't even remember what ship it was, and I removed part of a definition that I didn't mean to remove, and I had to oh nope, that's not an actual change. That's me trying to do a good thing, messing up. So we put it on there. Jared, we want more video content because we like it. I like it too. And there will be more video content next year. Probably not back to what it was at the high day, but I am bound and determined to do more next year
More
than
spoilers
we
for
did this year.
2026.
That's another thing. I don't know how I'm going to
You
do
should
it.
save this for like New Year's Eve. Kinda-
This sort of is art. No. It's kind of our New Year's Eve.
They don't work New Year's Eve. I'll get in trouble.
Have you made any good progress on the Caterpillar and Ironclad command modules?
Yes.
Next question.
Oh, okay, fine.
No,
no,
good.
no, it's fine. That's fine. That's all you want from me, Jared.
Go ahead
Sorry.
and say it.
No.
Go ahead and say it.
So the actual Parasite stuff for being able to take control of the large ship and fly it and control it. We've actually got the first playable coming up very soon. They've used a prototype of existing ships, but the Ironclad and the command module have been built with it in mind. There's slight tweaks needed for them to use it with that, but first playable's coming up soon, and we're currently on track to have it come out with it,
Okay, good.
with the actual release of the Ironclad.
Oh,
I know
was
that
there
will
any,
make my brother
any
happy.
truth to the rumor that you just took the command module of the Caterpillar, stuck asymmetric wings on it, and called it the Clipper?
No.
Now that you think about the shape, it's similar.
No, we turned it upside down and called it the Cutter.
Yeah, that was the concept, yeah.
5 new ships released at this year's IAE, yet all are missing a practical, quite useful element. Downward-facing landing lights. Why is this critical element being overlooked in ship design? Are you stupid?
Maybe.
I added that last one.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
possibly. So I think it depends what context we're talking about. Because if the practical purpose of them is the same reason that people wanted really, really powerful headlights and lights on the ship, it's to help them navigate in the dark. So it's easier to land and go about on dark planet surfaces. When we kept extending the range of the headlights, it didn't work well. It's really unperformant. And when you got a group of ships together and they're all pointing at each other, it was impossible to see anything because it would just be like driving down the highway.
Everyone remembers the Scouts.
Everyone's got the
The
high
Scouts,
beams on.
super bright thing you could see from orbit.
Yeah, it was too much. But people need a way to be able to actually navigate in the dark. Like, absolutely, that's something that's needed. So,
Night vision landing camera.
so we do have plans for a solution. It's a system called, we're calling it LAMP.
Lamp.
Not Star Lamp?
I mean, I didn't pick the name, Jared. I didn't pick the name of it. But it's LAMP.
Lamp is back.
It's to...
I love Lamp.
Oh, I love that film. The entire purpose is light amplification, so it's to let people be able to fly and navigate at night. It's currently in early stages. We don't exactly know when it's going to be going out, but what it does is it puts light amplification on all of the canopy glasses, so you actually be able to see what you're doing in the dark.
Yeah. If people have used the FPS scopes with the light amplification, it's a more expanded version of that
For your cockpit glass?
for your cockpit
Yeah.
glass.
Oh.
So that's the solution to have you navigate at night. Now, if the question was because it's cool,
yeah, it is
bit for the
cool.
ships.
Yeah, just blame me. It's fine.
I still want an underneath landing camera though. I still want, especially on, what's the one that took off and landed vertical?
Sulan.
Yeah, so that was good for that. Yeah. With the Clipper debuting an integrated crafting station, are we going to see them added to existing ships such as the Carrack or Aquila?
Carrack, yes, because it was one of the promised features of that ship was this repair room, which at the time sort of was pretty undefined, but now it's repair is sort of like crafting your own small items for things, and you can sort of repair adjacently to it. And we were talking about the Kilo. We can't remember that being a thing for it.
I don't remember that either. I think that.
If someone has some hard evidence for that being a thing, put it in chat or comments or the Spectrum thread. Tag me on Spectrum.
Send your comments, Carrack, John Crew.
Yeah.
We spent like a good hour today digging through every single bit of the old marketing material for every generation of it and couldn't find a thing about it on the Aquila. Just
Aquila.
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 Tomato.
Aquila.
If anyone has
Idris,
got
Idris.
anything of it, just
Aegis
tag
Idris.
me on Spectrum. We'll
I do look on Spectrum, but it's
You just don't reply.
I don't reply because I get a lot of tags.
Okay, so here's another one. With another large ship added, Perseus, conspicuously lacking the option to reserve a name, even if it wouldn't be visible in game, can someone please give us an update on the intentions around ship naming? We've had absolutely no word in years to confirm or deny that the original reservation system is still aligned with the team's philosophy. If it is, then what's stopping you from adding ship naming simply on the web hanger side, so we can reserve the unique names we have in mind?
So from a vehicle content point of view, there's two things there. Since we introduced vehicle naming and serials with the Hercules and a slew of other ships, we've done the setup on all the ships to support having names since then. So anything in like the last 3-4 years
4 years.
Yeah, at least one.
has the setup for it. We're not, at least from an art point of view, not particularly happy with how it works because
Yeah.
it's basically a fixed size, maximum 32 carat long length string that goes on the exterior of the vehicle. If you name your ship B, it's the same size B as if you had 32 Bs in a line. So it doesn't look great. It doesn't react to the paints. We get to pick the font and the color in the current system. So if you pick, you've got a black hull ship with white font, looks great on the default. You go put a white paint on it, it doesn't react to that. We need to enhance that. So either the paints have an override for the serial numbers and colors, or the serials do some magic to detect that. And we also want to like highlight them with lighting. So like you see on the Enterprise, it has little lights that illuminate up the name and the serial number.
Okay.
And we need that to work with the dynamic scaling side of it as well. So from a content side of view, it works. We're not particularly happy with it. There's also a huge amount of work that goes on the platform side that they would need to answer. I know it's a hugely manual process because of the way so many people own so many ships, and because it's unique names, they do it in a wave system. So you need to go work out the owners of every ship, divide it into waves, let each wave have time, and like I say, it's manual, and then it has to be approved because people on the internet put naughty words on the outside of their spaceship.
Yeah, it basically needs feature work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
We can do it, but it's a huge amount of manual work that
Still wanted. Chris is being busters on it. It just
Yeah,
needs
and
feature work.
Nigel says, we set all the ships up. There's some polish and niceties that we would like to improve the visuals, but then it's more on the feature side that's the issue.
We need it to be scalable as well. From like the time investment to set it up, it's a huge amount of it. There needs to be more practical way to do it.
Back away from this one because it looks like a hard
Just making these mind up.
trying to work out which
settled
this
in.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of them.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's me. I'm in trouble. Oh.
Don't say a word. Gonna need some more info on the battlecruiser there, Chief. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. I'll say this so that if somebody gets angry at me, they can just come to me. The battlecruiser, for those of you who don't know, is our last concept. It's from the original crowdfunded campaign. We didn't do any concept ships this year. It's our intention to never do another concept ship again other than the battlecruiser. And when it comes,
I'm gonna watch the chat for this.
being a giant military style thing, if only there was a giant military style event that would be appropriate to reveal such things. That's probably where you might expect to learn more
So Invictus.
about it.
Okay.
And definitely not here where we've already spilled the beans on too much of the 2026 schedule.
Did you confirm the manufacturer then or not?
Well, we're not revealing them.
Wait, did you just confirm it for 2026?
I feel like we're not
Did
doing
I?
2026.
Did I? No.
You didn't.
Citizen Joel's like, open development. Open development doesn't mean we just say everything that comes into our brain. That's never been what open development is. It's never what it's going to be. Open development. It's been very open. All right. Have you identified a stopping point where SC will have enough ships?
No.
No. Well, why does there have to be a limit?
Well, like, we haven't even, like, if you think of a matrix of all different sizes and manufacturers, we haven't even filled one of every size and role.
We just got our salvage starter.
Right?
Exactly,
And
yeah.
One of them.
we don't just want one in most of the slots because people want the choice, right? Some people don't like RSI, some people don't like Drake, some people don't like.
Those are all terrible
Origin.
people.
We want people to have options, and we haven't even filled out the basic matrix yet.
And like our alien races, we've got a few more systems to make and a few more, places to go. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there.
There's one alien race that is in the lore that we've never done anything with.
The Kurthak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Wingman.
Okay. And with that, I think I'm going to stop there. We got a little less than half an hour left, so I will do that on the final one. Obviously, as y'all should see if you watch this, which however few of you do, which again, thank you for any of you that do decide to waste your time with my content. I had to make some cuts there because I had some phone calls and stuff. But anyways, yeah. So I not a whole lot more info in this section. Just kind of elaborating on some of the stuff from the first section. I do like that last question as I mean not the question itself asking how many ships will be enough, but their answer as far as how many, as far as, there's so many, excuse me, manufacturers that don't have so many things. So I'm going to quickly, for instance, go to the ship page. I talked about this once in a old video, but I can't remember. So, for instance, okay, so yeah, we got going down the line, Aegis has, see on the, on the website, there's actually, let me just actually show y'all as well as I talk about this. Bear with me one moment. And we'll go through them here. Okay. So... Alright. So, we have... Throughout the manufacturers here, we got Aegis, who has... And I'll actually just do it for everything right now, in and out of game, so its purposes. Aegis, which of course, we have all these variants of the Avenger, but, which are, starter ships of different things. You have your combat, a lot of combat ships as far as, your Gladiuses, you got Bomber, you got heavy gunship in the Hammerhead, of course, the Idris for combat frigate, Nautilus, which is mechanics aren't even in the game yet. Reclaimer, you've got heavy salvage, but as far as salvage in general, we've only got three, now other ships in the game now, which when we get to RSI, we have a starter, but that's the only one, and then you have the Vulture Drake, your small to medium ship. As I was saying, so again, here in Adris, we got our big, big boys. We got the Idris, we got the Javelin, not in game yet, obviously. Uh, as I was saying, the Reclaimer heavy salvage, and we've only got the starter in now the RSI and the salvage, which again we'll come back to. We'll try to run through these quickly. RSI, then we have the Drake Vulture, small to medium, but we don't have like that medium to large. It jumps right up to the extra large Reclaimer. So yeah, we need more things to be more filled out, I guess, to fill out the, qualifiers, if you will. And then, of course, you know, Redeemer, as far as, gunships, more fighters for Aegis, the different sabers, the hoplites, which again, there are variations within those, bomber, dropship, uh, the Vanguard, Warden, and then the Vulcan, which will be a medium repair. Obviously, that function's not in yet. Now, I do wonder for certain things, like obviously, like as they were also talking about, hopefully with the kits and stuff that will then eliminate the need for things as like when we get to Crusader, you'll see for the Ion and the Inferno, which are pretty much the same ship, just a different weapons layout. And kind of what a lot of us were worried with, that the Wolf was pretty much just going to be, the Alpha was going to be the Wolf, but just with lasers. But they're slightly different, obviously, and now they're doing the kits so you can change the weapons out. And I mean, as far as like for the sabers, they have slightly different, for each of the things, you have slightly different looks and builds for things, and even for like the Titans here, you have slightly, what is it, the Renegade and the regular Titan, I think are essentially the same. Maybe that's just a paint thing, I can't remember. But um, but yeah, but again, but there are internal differences for the ships. So of course that's reason for there to be different, variations. Because I mean that's more than just like weapons things. Now, if they kind of made it somehow, if it was a modular thing to go between each of these, then I mean I could see that maybe being something. But again, as long as you know having variations of a fighter, I think are fine as long as again they are different enough and serve a purpose. And then of course we got an Anvil, which you got your big ground vehicles as far as your ballistas, but again fighters like the Arrow, drop ships like the Asgard and the Valkyrie. Um, then you have of course your Pisces, which um, I still can't remember what the difference between the expedition and the regular is. I think it's supposedly scanning capabilities, but and of course like um, the medical Pisces, of course, is a different structure in the ship because of the beds and all that. But again, I wonder if that would be something, since the chassis is pretty much the same, that could be a modular thing. And the Carrack, which again I had heard, but I didn't know for sure. Again, because I haven't been playing it that long, that about there being more modular aspects to the Carrack, and now hearing about the crafting part that was originally part of it, and I know this has been in game for a while, so that's going to be really interesting to take a look at. Again, you got the Crucible, heavy repair, because neither. Okay, so then we got the Hornets, for instance. So, and granted, I've only been in a few of these, so I mean, like I said, I can see obviously some differences, like the F7C, which is combat, medium fighter, which so is the Mark II, but okay, because these are both Mark Ones. Um, and then like the Heartseeker, which they, again, as I said, were just kind of kits. So, if you can eliminate a lot of stuff by kits, I think that would still allow for variation, and if people can purchase those, that's still money, obviously going into CIG's pockets. Where of course, like, you got the tracker with obviously the scanning dish, Mark One and Mark Two. Um, Again, I'm not sure. I've seen the name for the ghost, but I don't know what the ghost does. I'm guessing stealth or whatnot. Lightnings, the gladiators, hawks. Again, a bunch of fighters. We have, of course, a bunch of fighters, as you would think, because that's a good part of this game, combat and whatnot. The Legionnaire, boarding, light carrier, again, which requires the um, functions for ship repair, restocking, yada yada yada. Paladin, Spartans, okay, the Terrapins, which again, medical versus regular. Could it be? I mean, I understand internally there is a little bit of a difference there, obviously. I mean, is it enough that it could be handled by a kit? Probably not, because again, you got the whole scanning thing here on the top, and all that. Again, like I said, there's the Valkyrie as a drop ship and whatnot. So, sorry, we'll go along quickly. But then again, then you come to like, as they mentioned again, the aliens, where apparently there's one alien that they haven't even done anything yet. I really do need to brush up on my lore and go through the wiki for more. I started to do that just to get more familiar with it, but then I kind of dropped off on it. Um, so yeah, the Aopao ships. At first I did not really like the Kartu Eye or the Santiakai, but as I drove them a little bit during the again fly for free, I came to appreciate them a little more. Nox, again, we have a dozen hover cycles, but obviously they ain't got much variation. It's pretty much fighters for them. Um, Argo. Obviously, mainly we have some of the more industrial things. Of course, there's the mole for mining. We got the atlases, which the so helpful. The regular atlas, the geo. I have both of these. I use the geo a little bit. Maybe use a little bit more, but I think for the most part, honestly, because like I also upgraded to, even though it's in concept, and I'm sorry, I forgot to finish that thought. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I sold my Star Runner, used the money from that along with the upgrade from my Meteor because I barely use it, and then real money to upgrade to the Odyssey, and then I upgraded from my MTC to um, the MTC to the Clipper, a little money in exchange. But then also I sold a bunch of paints I had, again, for some of those ships that I've now just sold or upgraded. To get when we get to Tumbril, you'll see the Rangers. Which again, why are these things not in the game? I don't understand. I don't know why. But anyways, so like I thought about selling my Atlas and my Geo because that would be money, and of course they're the same price or a little bit more than some of the Rangers, so I couldn't use them to upgrade. But again, they're LTI. Like everything I have is pretty much LTI except for the Star Runner, and that's why I just sold it for cash. As far as ships that I bought from off of here. Anyways, but again, great thing to have as far as your hauling, Geo, and you can get them in game now, buy them in game or Wicklow or whatever. CSM, which I did upgrade that to something. I can't remember what it was. I think. Anyway, again, there's the mole, the actual regular mole. Um, these light freight things, I know like there are cargo. There are specific areas for them in the Idris. I don't know how many people actually use them for their other purposes now, but as a lot of them seem to be pretty much the same frame. and then just kind of the back area, central back area, are different than I mean, couldn't that be something that could be now kitted or I just used the word already and I forgot it. Could be modules could be switched out. SRV. So towing, mainly industrial things. Banu. Only Banu thing we have in game right now is the Defender, and then we got the Merchantman coming, um, which again, giant space mall basically. I mean, it says heavy freight. I guess could be regular transport, but again, that's how it's pitched, kind of like as a space mall. So I'll be interesting to see how that is. And I haven't watched the videos, but I know there's some people that have kind of made. I think one was on an Idris, kind of did have done that in game on one, so that will be interesting to see. But again, only 2 ships, and yes, they're alien ones, so I know there might be some slight difficulty, I guess, as far as the aesthetic and whatnot. Consolidated Outland. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, when you have a little bit of everything in there, that's always a good thing. Like, so they have a bike, hover quad, then you have all the Mustangs, which, again, I've only flown a couple of them. Like looking at there's the Alpha Vindicator, which is just I guess a version of the Alpha. But I mean, looking at the silhouette, the Beta looks pretty much the same, and for the Delta, Gamma, and Omega, I'm not sure if there's something that's drastically different. Like I said, I believe there's one, if not more, of them have a little cargo thing in back and whatnot. Well, of course, one's racing. Again, the whole racing thing I don't quite get, but I guess there's some people that still do it. But anyways, they're light fighters basically. Nomad and the big boy, the Pioneer, which will be a big thing for Consolidated Outland if I guess if you can get it. As I mentioned in my last video, my org mate Wolf wanted to get one. They were sold out like mega quick. So, but yeah, which of course this is going to be the biggest thing as far as when crafting gets to its zenith, which is base building, like be it on land, space stations, and whatnot. So yeah, I want to see this thing. But anyways, and then of course they announced I think they say the one in the first part of the live they mentioned was the Forge, I think it is. That's going to be, I believe, Consolidated Outland. So a little more, I think of a versatile one, kind of like the Clipper. All right, Crusader. Again, I like Crusader. Their general like aesthetic as far as the way the ships look, the lines, the inside and whatnot. We got our spirits, which we got our 3 spirits, the A1, the C2, and the E1, which again hasn't been in game. The whole passenger thing, we'll see how that goes. But because of just pure design from the pictures, like the E1, I think it's going to be completely different from obviously the C1 and the A1, which the main difference, obviously, C1 is like cargo, strictly got all that room. A1 has the bombs. Again, that's fine. It fulfills certain roles. But yeah, like here, the Inferno and the Ion. I mean, if you look at these ships, they look identical, and which I understand they pretty much are identical, except for paint scheme, the original paint scheme, and one had the Gatling had the what's the word, ballistics, and one had a laser. So that could be now what kits just one of those could be eliminated. I mean, will they after all this time? I don't know, but it could be. Then you have things like, again, complete differences in types of things offered. The transport thing, which along with the E1, I'd be interested to see how this mechanic works, how many people actually do this, but you'll see. Again, you have the Intrepid as a light freight, a starter, which I say actually is like a starter +1, if you will, but or one of the higher tier starters, if you will. And of course, the various Hercules is like the spirits that mainly cargo, but then of course you have the A2, which is a bomber. Of course, the Star Runner, which again I really like the Star Runner, but as I said, I wanted to you know get that Odyssey like right when it comes out, so I traded it in because I can get it in game. I just got to grind a little bit for it. Drake, again, you got a little everything. You got your fighters, your caterpillars for your hauling. The Clipper now, the generalists, which I do like the new generalist class, Corsair, Expedition, which of course a lot of people use for combat. Your different cutlasses, um, which again I've been in them, but I'm not as familiar. Like the black and steel, I'm not sure what the big difference is. Of course, the red is for med, and the blue being interdiction. I mean, I guess certain again, same chassis, but I guess the changes internally are so different that they would necessitate a whole ship. Um, but I'd have to look at those again, each of them to kind of see myself. I could probably look through some of my old videos to see if I think those things could be modded or whatever. The cutters, again, like I said, the workhorse, if you will, the for the people, Drake. Again, you got the different cutters, and I know some are, it says light freight, starter, expedition, or again, starters, expedition, reconnaissance. I guess though probably more scanning. The dragonflies, hover bikes, Spike Drake as well. I was glad when we got like I have a golem for the starter mining, and like I said, kind of that led into us now having the salvation, the ox, which again taking the golem chassis but changing it just a little bit so it can serve another purpose. That's fine. I get that because you couldn't get quite the same effect by just taking that pot off. Herald, I really don't know much about the Herald. Okay, the Ironclad, obviously, we're still waiting for, but again, that's basically a huge platform, transport, Kraken. Again, your space carrier, spacecraft carrier, multi-role, light carrier. Well, I guess again because you're having light fighters and stuff on there, or maybe some medium. Mules, vultures. Again, mainly, not even mainly industrial stuff, but a lot of industrial, a balance of industrial and other purposes. So, Xperia, again, one of the aliens, where they do have more stuff in there. All fighter based, obviously, except for the Prowler, which is a dropship, and then we have the utility, which is cargo. So, they changed it just enough so it serves its purpose being a separate ship. Um, and again, I like the Stinger the way it looks on the outside, but the inside is meh for me. And Talon Shrike, I still can't remember what the difference is. I gotta look at that and see the difference on the Matrix. Gotek as right now. Again, the only thing we have is the Sulin, which my brother loves this ship, and the Raylan, which is going to be a cargo ship. So in the same, it looks like vein, the kind of vertical take off and then go on its side and everything. But again, they don't have many others, so there's room for possibly more. Gray's Market, now that we got the Shiv, which is just a hodgepodge, a heavy fighter, but just a hodgepodge of things, which again, rumors were supposed to be getting more cobbled stuff. Gray Cat, which has been mainly obviously transport. We just got the MDC. Again, at first thought just that PDC, PDT on top was just like, what? But again, I've thought about it more as I've watched people's videos and talk about it. I mean, serves a purpose. MTC, of course, which I have one, but that's what I upgraded for. Yeah, that's what I upgraded for the Clipper. Because again, I can get in game now. The PTV, the golf cart, whatever. But we got some, of course, industrial there with the rock, but mainly just vehicles to transverse, from place to place, do a little damage if need to. So I mean, could see Gray Cat maybe venturing out and doing something else, some type of ship or whatever. Kruger, again, we got our wolves now. We got, of course, the Merlin and the Archimedes, which are snub fighters. Um, as we'll get to with Mirai, too. I kind of understand the snub fighters as far as, yes, when they're attached to another ship to give a little something, i.e., the Merlin and Archimedes being attached to Connies, the constellations. Um, and when having that hangar designed for a Fury. But again, yeah, I mean, I would love to see some more Kruger again, just from their whole aesthetic of how the shiny, how it looks, and to see a little more diversity in their Mirai. Mainly fighters. Again, from the Furies, the Guardians, which you know I still have no idea what the purpose of the regular Guardian is when the key is well. Oh, okay. So now it's well, no, that's the sorry, I was looking at the MX, uh, but the key, which is $10 more difference than the Guardian. I mean, what? To my knowledge, again, there is no difference between these two, other than the fact that the key has the quantum dampener on it, which makes it superior. I mean, for $10. I mean, why? What's the difference? I mean, like I said, maybe there's something with the guns that I'm unaware of that are better on this than this. I don't know. But then again, like, then you have the MX, which yeah, they changed the interior, like took the bed away and stuff, make it a little more bulky, armored, and you got your missiles obviously. So I understand that being a different ship than a variant, your pulses, whatever, razors, again, not big differences between them. I mean, are they things that could have been like kitted rather than whole ships? I don't know. That's for CIG. Okay, then MISC. Okay, again, like highly, industrial cargo or whatnot, as we have, heavy science, refineries, of course, salvage. So, okay, so as far as, like I said, for salvage, you know, the Fortune as a small ship, but we basically have that, and then, um, the, geez, my brain is going to mush because it's getting late. Um, oh yeah, yeah, okay. The Vulture again, as we said, we had just the Vulture, the Fortune and the Vulture, which are I forget size comparison wise, but like I said, that small to medium range, um, and then like I said, but then it went to the huge jump to the Reclaimer. So I mean, yeah, we still need from sub supplier kind of a more medium to large type thing. Your freelancers, um, yeah, they like I said, same basic chassis. But of course, internally, some differences for different reasons. Your hulls, which are just generally same ship, just getting bigger and bigger, and more detail with that. Fine. Prospector, like again, as far as mining, what do we have for mining? Okay, as far as ships, well, I mean, for as far as vehicles, we have the Atlas Geo, which is extremely small, just kind of adding on to something else. You got your rocks, which again, terrestrial only. And then, like I said, as far as ships, now we have the Golem as a starter. We have the Prospector, so like I said, the small to medium, and then there's the Mole, which more like which is a I guess technically a large. I forgot, I have to go back and see, but and then that's it. I mean, until we have other things coming up. So like now the Odyssey, which I'm getting, we will be able to, oops, excuse me, do some mining, and then of course they will have ultimately like the Orion, which I forget what supplier it is. We'll get to that, come upon that sooner or later. I think that is Misk. So we'll see. But yeah, the Starfarers for refueling, and of course, like I said, the max and attack. Obviously, um, same basic shape, but some, of course, drastic differences in that, the max is mainly, as it says, medium freight, crew of 4, for mainly transport, whereas the the attack is a patrol ship, gunboat patrol ship where you got your med beds now. I mean, you still got some storage area, but mainly it's like you got your med beds, you got all your turrets and stuff. So of course that necessitates a slightly different design for it and everything. Again, then you go to Origin, your luxury, which I like the outward aesthetics and some of the insides of Origin. It's just that, you know, again, the 100 and 300 series, of course, they can do their due diligence. They have their applications. I've been inside them. I mean, are the differences big enough that they necessitated whole ships? Again, this is, as Jared said, they started off when they were making these with the tech they had at the time. They could only, make variants of themselves instead of components and stuff. But I'm saying, are these some things that could probably be modded out to eliminate redundancies, or are they actually different enough to necessitate different versions? Again, as I've never been a big fan of them, I can't tell you in the limited flight I've had of them. But of course, 400i. Again, as I was talking about the 600s, I am curious what kind of refit they're gonna have on these things, because yes, again, luxury and all that stuff. But I think if they did made a couple tweaks as far as give her a little bit more teeth, and one thing I did not realize, which someone, I can't remember whether it was my brother or our orgmate Heteron, told me, I think this does have PDCs on it, so that does help out a bit. But I don't know. I think it'd still be some internal changes they could make to make things a little bit better. I mean, heck, maybe a little hanger variant or something, a module with a little hanger. I don't know. But anyways, and then of course the 890 jump. What it is. It kind of encompasses a lot of things. The G12s, which we're waiting for. Again, slight differences in what they are as far as, got, your guns on the regular G12, the A missiles, and all that. So again, there's slight differences. I get that. The X-Force touring, so I guess maybe the firepower or something, velocity, racing, RSI, and I know, sorry, going through all this, we'll be done with it soon. And maybe the Orion might be RSI, as I think about it. The Medivacs, again, as I have an Apollo Medivac, and I like my Medivac, but again, I could see maybe upgrading for something else. The only reason I didn't, because this was a little bit more, use this to upgrade, was because, I like it. And, again, like I said, the Starfarer didn't have lifetime. This does. So, anyways, but kind of as I was saying for the Guardian and the Key, the Triage and the Medivac. Let's see, what is it? 290, 260. Okay, I mean, a $30 difference. I mean, so that's a little bit of a difference, but still, what is the main difference? My Medivac has have double the missiles, and I think the armor's a little better. So, I mean, the price difference, I can get that, but I mean, at the same time, I'm like, then why don't you make that like, $50 different or something as far as the ship itself internally is all the same. Um, we got that's right, I forgot we got the Arasta coming too, which is as far as mining, and that's a large ship. So that will give us that large ship for mining. Again, so then we'll have Golem, Prospector, Arasta, and Odyssey and Orion, I think. Yeah. So of course the different Auroras, the in-game classic staple first starter, if you will. Again, they have their little differences, little functions. Did it need to have how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Auroras? Something that couldn't be kitted out differently now? I don't know. Maybe. And maybe with the Mark IIs, the gold standard and the Mark II coming up, maybe we'll see something like that. Again, constellations. We have 4 different constellations. Again, what's the multi-role? One's called considered more medium freight, expedition, and I'm guessing there's differences in weaponry there. The Phoenix, which is again the luxury, and of course the Taurus, again medium freight. But whereas like I know, what is the Andromeda and the Phoenix, I think it is, or is it all 3 of these? They come with the snub fighter, like so either the Merlin or the Archimedes. The Taurus does not. And I get with that because the price kind of reflects that. Whereas the Taurus is 200 flat. And I forgot. I mean, in game, I'm not sure the differences. I'd have to look at again. But then you go to the Andromeda, which is 240. The Aquila 350, 315, and the luxury of the Phoenix being the highest. And like I said, if they come with the snub fighter, that makes sense. Galaxy, which is again going to be modular's design, so as a newer ship, so you don't have to have multiple variants of it. Of course, like ground wise, the Ursa Link Medical, and the Ursa Medevac, and the Lynx, all based off the Ursa chassis, but have slightly different functions, so that's fine. Even though I can't remember if the Lynx are those weapons on it or no? It needs to have something. Of course, you have the Mantis, then you have the Meteor. Obviously, there are differences in their function and everything. So differences still, like I said, the Orion, which is going to be the mega heavy miner. So like I said, we have going to have multiple layers with what's already in game. I mean, or what's at least announced pledge store wise for throughout the suppliers for mining. There are various levels, and for of course salvage we have different. For of course cargo we have various levels from starters, like in the Avenger Titan or now the Intrepid, up to obviously our hulls, and whatnot. So again, it's about variety and everything. Got the Perseus now as a new gunship. Of course, the Polaris is a corvette. And again, the new Salvation, which is a light salvage, our starter into salvaging, if you will. Surprised I didn't categorize it as a starter, but anyway. Scorpius for fighters, and I said the different Ursas, and similarly the Zeuses. As I was talking with my brother, because he has, he pledged for MMR, and I forgot which one he actually has. I think it's the CL as a holdover. But why? What is it that's holding the MR? I mean, as far as the interdiction, plenty of ships have that. So the only other answer would be the like pods for bounty hunting for people or whatever. Which, like, I mean, as I said to him earlier, the again, what is it? The Stalker, I think it is. Yeah, has pods for people as well. So, and again, I know they keep wanting to say the whole, well, we don't want to, introduce something without its functionality. again, y'all just introduced the Clipper without its functionality for the Fabricator. Don't give us that BS. And as far as I know, everything else in the uh, Zeus Mark II MR, other than maybe the pods for hunting or for people, is already exists in the game. So come on, let's get with it. Okay, Tumbrel, basically all land vehicles, I believe. Yeah, all various. Again, do we? I mean, do we need? Again, as I said, I know. As far as I know, these are some of the older things in game. So, like I said, do we need one, two, three, four, five, six cyclones? No, 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 no. I mean, are like I said, are they different enough that they need like completely different chassis? Again, from what I can tell, not really. Like I said, some of them, I guess, like the MT, the AA, the TR, I could see, that maybe as opposed to the RN or the base Cyclone because they've got, extra things in the back, so the design changed a little bit and everything. But I mean, then can we then like eliminate those down to like two, and then um, like one of them kitted out for things? I don't know. But anyways, and then like I said, then there are the Rangers, obviously, which again they're each, from what I can tell, just slightly different. So having a different one, it's not that bad, from the CV having the extra fuel tank for longer distance and the things on the side. Of course, to the TR having the guns and the RC just being for racing. We got the Storm, which, again, you have the Storm and the Storm A. Could those, the difference between that cannon and the missiles, could that have been a mod? I don't know, but it's like the Nova, which right there. Okay, so I mean, where there is the one Nova, but we now have uh different kits for the weapon on the top. I think it's that, and what is it? What was it? Missiles, I think. So yeah, hold on, and yeah, that's the end of that. There's still plenty of room for a lot to be filled out between the different suppliers. And even as no, I didn't mean to load up Star Citizen. This is too late. I'll have to try to do some of those after work tomorrow. But yeah, sorry, I lost my thought for a minute. But yeah, just even as far as like, even as they said, and Jared made the joke about it, that there are some people that are like, well, I want to try this type of ship, but I don't like Drake, or I don't like, I forgot what the other one they named was, which he was like, those are stupid people, just joking around. But I mean, there is something to that because, as I've said a number of times, like I said, I like ships from almost, I think almost each of them. At least there's something that I've liked. Like I said, Godok, I don't like the Sulin. The Raylan looks cool, but again, we haven't gotten that yet, and we'll see. I mean, if it is like the Sulin as far as the whole vertical and on its axis, I don't know how I'll feel about that. But otherwise, I can think of something from every supplier that I like. But if they did add a little more variety, again, like I said, I love the aesthetic of Origin. Yes, it's luxury, so they may not get away from that for it is. But if they were to have like an Origin ship, but then they had like, a miner or a salvage or a light fighter or whatever, that would be, I think, interesting. Or again, like I like Crusaders general appearances for their ships and interiors and whatnot. But again, as those are mainly um, uh, fighters slash cargo, again, because I mean, you're basically your main things for Crusader are, again, there's now of course we have the starter freight with the Intrepid. But like I said, then you go as far as going up in size, then you have the Spirit series, which is again cargo, bombing, and it will be the transport, whatever. And then you have, like I said, the Ion and the Inferno. Again, same ship, just switch those weapons out. Uh, and then of course you have the Hercules series, the A2, C2, and M2, which are predominantly cargo, moving things around, of course, except for the bombs in the A2, just like with the Spirits. So, the main thing for Crusader seems to be, like I said, moving things, but with a couple teeth on them, to keep you safe. And I'm saying with that overall aesthetic, I would like to see maybe too if they did some type of, you know, salvage or miner or a generalist ship. Like I said again, that's one thing I really like with the Clipper, and when they've kind of what they were talking about with the Forge and the, I really need to look back. I think it's auxiliary, ancillary, or whatever. Like it give us a little more, and then even today, I mean, in the fragment that we did for today's video, him saying like there is another one planned coming out. He's not going to say who it is or whatever, so that makes me, as he say, another generalist ship. Maybe again the Forge and the whatever are more. Okay, he was talking about, I guess, because those are ships more with the crafting aspect more than generalist. But yeah, anyways, I've rambled on for too long. My apologies for that. Those are my thoughts concerning what this second segment we've watched from the Star Citizen Live from the other day, and I'll try to get to the third part fairly soon in the next couple days. But as always, feel free to share, subscribe. Hope you give me a like if you like my content. Those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hit that notification button so you know when I drop something new. If you feel so inclined, leave me a comment on anything you heard from them, from me, or any thoughts, suggestions in general. And as always, thanks for watching.